Hello, everyone, and thanks for listening. So, I'm seeing a new article and I'm hearing some news stories about who Stephen Clark and his wife or girlfriend. Apparently, she hated Black women. So, I'm going to read the article. Um, this article was it's entitled Stephen Clark and his Asian girlfriend apparently hated Black women. And so it's, here it says Sandra Rose. Stephen Clark, an unarmed Black man who was gunned down by police while allegedly breaking into cars in Sacramento, was apparently a misogynistic, self-hating man whose Asian girlfriend shared his hatred for Black women. And so it goes on to say that Twitter user Eat More Fruits found Clark's and his girlfriend's hateful tweets and published the messages. So there were several messages that these two had left. And so I guess they had something in common. I don't want nothing black but an Xbox, dark bees bring dark days. And so black is box, keeping it 100. Black bees. I don't want nothing black but an Xbox. And so those are tweets. Black women here is what hashtag Stephen Clark thought about you. Stop marching, protesting for this fool that did not care about you. He would not have done the same for you. Hashtag Black women matter. And so these tweets came up about how he really felt about people in his own culture. So it says, here is a tweet, hashtag Stephen Clark's Asian babies, and another tweet she wrote about Black women. The user tweeted on Thursday, she also loves using the N-word. Notice that hashtag Stephen Clark co-signed the tweet about Black babies. His Twitter was at Zoe Woods. That was his Twitter account or his Twitter name. So the user posted tweets allegedly written by Selena Manny, Clark's girlfriend, which reads, "This N or this nigga said, I don't want no Black baby. I'm already Black, and I don't need no Black baby." So a user with the Twitter handle at Zoe Woods replied this, "On God," alongside a 100 emoji. So it goes on, and I'm not going to read the rest of that, but there's several tweets that come up about who Stephen Clark really was when he was alive. So Black women here is what Stephen Clark thought about you. Stop marching. Hashtag Black women matter. And so very negative talk. And so you can see the tweets for yourself. And so mostly all the tweets are posted here. So I'm going to comment on how I feel about it. I support the fact that, yeah, there is a lot, and I support that effort. But however, I do not support this type of mentality and the tweets and the girlfriend's views, his views, how they were. And these are the type of attitudes that I had talked about in various videos previous to this video, that I was very turned off by the way some African American males, and I've said some in the past, view Black females. He's not the only one. So I'm going to venture out to say he alone is not the only one. There are other black males who are, even now today, they are not in this predicament. They haven't been gunned down by police, but they're living. They are making videos, they're making posts. I've said that in previous videos. I've seen videos where you even have people who claim to be leaders and they want to help the black community, yet they're making posts to degrade and be misogynistic towards black females. Any subject or any movie that comes up about a black woman, they have to go in on black women, and they see the negative side of everything. And it's always the black woman's fault for anything. Anything bad happens, it's always the black woman's fault. There's never any accountability in like situations sort of, let me give like a good analogy. Now, I don't want to say this person's name, but he did a video. I didn't even bother to watch it because I knew it was going to be something negative in regards to black females. It was about, there was a biographical movie on Netflix about Roxanne Shante. And so this person who claims to be this guy in the black community and wants to start a program, and he wants to work with black kids, and he wants to do all this stuff, and he preaches to black people about, you know, homosexuality, how he hates homo people, and how he hates so apparently switches off and on. And so I think something is really majorly wrong with him. And he's taken a lot of money from some black people already, but he hasn't actually created what he claimed he was going to create because he wanted to do it without the help of white people, which that's going to be virtually impossible here in America. Anyway, but unless he starts off small. Or anybody that I know that has kids, I won't be he said some negative things about the biographical movie. I saw that show that was on Netflix about Roxanne Shante's life. It was pretty entertaining. Now, it did show her mother, where, you know, they lived in the projects. It looked like it was Brooklyn, New York, and it was a tough neighborhood, and the mother had a lot of issues in her life. She, I guess, had an issue with drinking, alcoholism, but it didn't happen, you know, it wasn't the whole movie, was more about Roxanne Shante, but it did talk about the people in her life and the pitfalls in her life. And there were some not so positive representations of some of the males. It didn't start off like that, but as you seen the movie and you got to learn the mother's issues with men, and Roxanne Shante, her battles and some of her issues with her kid's father, that there were some not so good role models in the kids' lives. And so those are real life situations, and that is not the first time that has happened to young ladies. There are men that don't want to really be fathers, or they're very abusive, or they have issues. They, you know, men hurt too. Men have problems. They have, you know, a lot of aggression. Maybe they went through a traumatic childhood. Maybe something happened in their life. Maybe they had both parents. There's a whole host or a laundry list of issues that could be. You don't know until you get to know the individual, because everybody's situation is different. But I noticed that this individual, as soon as I guess he wanted to give his criticism on the movie, he just totally went in. I think he went in on black women in his criticism, but I didn't bother to watch it because I just had a sense that it was going to be something really mean and negative. in regards to Black females. And I have a feeling that he has maybe had some, well, he actually, I don't have a feeling. There was an incident where he had an issue with one, at least one that we know of. And that one was a stripper, but you know, how can you take someone like that serious anyway? But I don't know. There's different situations. You know, some people, just because they're a stripper doesn't mean that they can't change. Maybe they're a different person in another, light, when they're not stripping. So everybody has, let's not even say that, because you never know what people are going through. So everybody has different stories. Doesn't mean just because you're a stripper, you're a bad person. Everybody's got different things going on and why they're doing it. So I don't want to just say something totally bad, but it's a risky business. But the thing is that with this situation here, Stephen Clark and his Asian girlfriend apparently hated Black women. It's like there's a lot of males that are on social media that will post things like this. He's not the only one. I still believe that the support should happen in terms of the police brutality. It can happen. There's a lot of Black people. There's a lot of Black males that could be in this situation. So it just so happened, unfortunately, that he's a guy that was not very supportive of his own peers and community, which is sad. I do support the fact that, there was, law enforcement who was very wrong in what they did to this man. But think about it too. Unfortunately, this is a very sad situation that happened, but with all the nasty things that he said on social media prior up to this, who knows why this even occurred the way it did. And look at the very people that are trying to support him, the very ones whom he posted on social media that he hated so much. And the very one that has been really, really, really crying and, outpour of show of support and wanting more show of support has been his own Black, um, I don't know if it's a grandmother or great grandmother. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. She's a Black woman. And so this is really terrible to hear something like this. The reason why I made that, statement about, what this other individual did, I was just trying to let you in on that this guy is not the only one that does this. There are plenty of guys online that do this kind of stuff. And if you're not living under a rock, if you haven't seen lately, there are a lot of men who, I was in a Starbucks and this wasn't that long ago. And I was standing in line and I was getting ready to order some coffee. And there was a white lady in front of me. And so the Black guy that was sitting, there's like a little area where you sit. Some people will sit and have coffee. And so some people might say, well, how do you know that he was being mean? Well, when somebody's being mean or when somebody's trying to make you feel like you're not desirable as opposed to some other person. And so there was a white woman in front of me. She was a little taller than me, and she was a lot heavier than I'm not a skinny person, but I'm not big. It's I guess I'm medium size. But this lady was a little more plumper than me, and she was white. And so this guy, he looks at me, and then he turns and looks at her. And in a way, he wanted me to see that he was looking at her. I don't know how to describe, but he kind of made the effort to make me see that, oh, I'm looking at the white woman. I'm not looking at you. And I was thinking to myself, I'm not interested in you, whether you're looking at her or not. I wouldn't want to be involved with you anyway. He wasn't someone I would want to be involved with. But, I've seen that happen, and on social media, There are people who do mean things. They say mean things rather, in regard to Black females. And I can tell you this: when I was younger, when you're younger, you do things because you think that's the thing to do. And as I became older and I realized, guys, if all they want is sex and all they want is somebody to look and to be acting like to act like they're, somebody that doesn't have any other things going on in their life except laying on their backside, that I don't find attractive, about that individual, or as a turn on, if that's his whole agenda in meeting a female or somebody that. I'm not a submissive person. I'll just tell you right there. I'm not submissive. I'm not prissy. I'm not trying to stand on heels and mess up my heel cords for the rest of my life. I'm not trying to look cutesy wootsy and tootsie fruitsy. So, and I'm not one that won't sit on my words, that will just sit on my words and let the man do all the talking. As a matter of fact, I'll be honest, from what I've seen out in the world, I have no interest in getting in any relationships. And I know that sounds really hardcore, but I find a lot of individuals very unattractive. And it's not the looks, it's the attitudes. And that's probably the biggest thing that I've noticed. And on social media alone, some of the stuff, this is a great example. Just things like this is the reason why I won't get involved with these types. Because I can smell it a mile away when there's phonies, when people are all out just they want one thing, or they're trying to lay up on you, or they're trying to abuse, or they have abusive mentality, or they're overly controlling. I don't rock with that at all, and that is not my thing. I'm really intellectual. I like a lot of higher things than just sitting around and trying to be at someone's beck and call, and that is not in my DNA. I'm sorry. So these type of women is perfect for him. I don't feel any um, ill feelings about it. I feel like it takes the heat off of me because I don't have to lower myself to those standards. And that's the way I view it. And so guys like this are a turnoff. And the ones on social media that talk about women and talk about them like they're a piece of meat or they're dirt under their feet or worse, I'm not turned on by any of those types anyway. I wouldn't want to, waste any energy on that kind of mentality from no one, because it'll just be miserable. And so if these type of individuals see each other and they desire to be with each other, then great, more power to them. It just takes the pressure off of me. I don't have to be bothered with it. That's the way I look at it. It's, one or two or three less stressors among all the other stressors in the world that I have to even encounter. So I don't have like extreme ill feelings about it, because I feel like he's not the only one that does this. And she's not the only one that does this either. There are other people like her out there that have these emotions. And those people I try to avoid. Hell, there are other people that are like this, like women who, can't get along. There are Black women who can't get along with other Black women. There are other women who are not Black who can't get along with other females of other, nationalities and cultures. So people like that, I just try to avoid them. It's a sad situation, but I do support the fact that they're trying to get to the bottom of what happened in his death, and that I wouldn't say that he didn't deserve that at all, despite what he has done or what he said and how he lived the last days of his life. No one deserves that kind of treatment. But the thing is that you got to watch how you live your life too. Because if you live your life full of hate, it will come back to meet you, and it'll meet you in a bad way. And so I'll just like, comment, subscribe, and I'm pretty much done with this article. It's unfortunate, but I will say this: it's just there are people out there in this world that you know who to click with, and you know who not to, and you know who to be involved with, and whom not to be involved with. And I find a lot of these types very unattractive, very ignorant, very mean spirited, full of anger inside of them. That's where the hates come from, because they hate themselves from the inside. And, if they think they're going for something better, you know, like I said, let them do it. But I'm not interested. They eventually, I believe this is to be true. What goes around comes around. So with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for listening.